Hey everybody, I am Paul Doski, your lovely hostess. Host. It is April Fool's as we're recording this, so I thought I would throw in another stupid, random April Fool's joke like I did last time for you guys. Anyway, we got the returning guest of Joey. Oh, here we go again. Let's see if I can do it this time again too. Ready, set, Oliveira. And he is from the Afterlight Comics, if you do not know that. And without further ado, because he is a returning guest, Joey, welcome back. And for those that possibly did not hear the first episode with you, can you give us a brief description of who you are and what you do?
I'm Joseph Oliveira from Afterlight Comics. Afterlight Comics is a independent horror comics publisher that I founded just over 2 years ago now. And we've funded on Kickstarter 16 Kickstarters to date, which includes all individual titles through that. And I come from a filmmaking background. Over 10 years ago, I was making short films, and then I started adapting some of the scripts that I had into books, and then continued that into more original stories that I could adapt. That's where we are today now.
Very cool. Now, speaking of which, you right now currently have your new Kickstarter going, which is issue 3 of the infamous Stay Awake, which last year, sort of around this time, we're like a month early from the 1 year anniversary, sort of you being on here. But you were telling us that Stay Awake was once a stage play idea or theater play, and you shelved it because it was supposed to be something about like a 70-minute run, and I'm trying to remember because forgive me because I forgot. I didn't forget, but because of what's going on in the world today and et cetera, I wanted to actually listen to the last episode where you were on, so I could remember all the little small details. But you can correct me. So you shelved it because you didn't really have. I think it was the fund, right?
Yeah, so you're right. In a 70-minute run stage play. It was basically, the theatre had kind of given the go-ahead with it. Obviously, I would have had to. It was all down to me really to put everything on from the ground up. The auditions, the set design, the direction of the play, sound, all those cool things I was totally on board to do with. I was chomping at the bit to do something like that. It's just I was working full time, and I just wouldn't be able to have done it with the full time job. So I kind of had to fall on the side a bit. And as you said, it got shelved for a number of years. Then it was a shame because I really wanted to put that out there to people and share it with people. But a couple of years ago, last year. I picked it back up and thought, let's see if I can adapt this into, one of the comics. So here it is today. It's a 4-issue series. And we're up to issue 3 now, which you said it's live on Kickstarter right now. And I'm just glad to be able to get it out now and share it with people that after so long of being locked away in a cupboard.
Yeah. So at this point of now, Joey, are we like 75% done?
Of the series? Yeah. So obviously there's a few changes from a stage play. We have the different directions and stuff on the stage to how it would be in a film or in a book. So I've edited the script a bit more that we had of the stage play to what it is now in the book, a shortened version and a bit of a twist of an ending, and it's been a cool experience adapting something that I wrote that was originally for theatre as well, into a book, and I'm kind of getting into that realm now of possibly adapting things, to adapting other ideas that have been in books or elsewhere to graphic novel form. It's a cool learning experience.
Well, I can't wait because, as you know, I made that nice little quote for you guys for staying awake. I thought it was very fitting because it's based off a real thing, which I believe you were saying you actually had a little experience once of sleep paralysis. I think it was you saying that. Maybe I'm getting it confused with somebody else.
No, definitely not me.
Okay.
I was when I was writing the script and research and everything into sleep paralysis before I wrote the stage play. I was reading things that you could. I was obviously listening to a lot of people's experiences and accounts of what they've had, and I read somewhere about these techniques you could use to self-induce sleep paralysis. And I lived in a single apartment on my own. I was writing this, and I was just like, I was looking at it. I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be doing that when I live alone." And this potential demon at the bottom of my bed, this hallucination, or this craziness. I don't think, because once people have this experience, they have a lot of trouble ever sleeping again. Their sleep is disturbed. They think, this could happen again, and then once that's in your mind, it's hard to get away from that. I'm very fortunate. I don't suffer with insomnia or any other sleep disorders or anything like that, so I sleep peacefully. So I knocked that one in the head and thought best not go down that route.
Yeah, no kidding. I do remember. I don't know if it was ever available in the UK, but Netflix had a documentary that was like called The Nightmare or something, which was basically about sleep paralysis. I don't know if that ever rang the bell for you, but yeah, that was a very weird documentary. I mean, there were some parts that I could take it seriously, and then there were some parts where I'm like, I don't know if it's supposed to be serious right now or something. Weird.
But that's where I've tried to ground everything with the book. With most of my stories, I try and ground the bizarre and the strange and scary into the real world. Into not something that's fantasy. That there's that it's teetering on the edge that this could actually happen, or that doubt in your mind. Before you go to sleep,
or somebody has already experienced something similar to it or something, because it is basically on a real life situation. I don't know really what else to really call it.
It's the science. Well, scientists can't explain it. It's a phenomenon. It's as simple as that. It's bizarre.
Yeah, that's true, because we do hear like people have the encounter with a hat man or a shadow person or some sort of entity that is hard to even make out because it's like a solid black or something. But we get to hear about little details. Like I said, the hat man, solid figure standing in your corner or sitting on your bed or standing over you or something. It's always something weird, but.
That's what's interesting the most to me. Wrapping all that up and potentially answering that question or leaving it to the audience at the end. What really is this is the truth in it. That's where the protagonist, I think, is 90% of the or 70% of the readers out there. Who don't believe or who's very down the line, and no, it's just the wind, or trying to write it off. Where there's these people that come to them and say about these experiences.
Right.
It's that up against that. It's a really cool way of exploring the story that way, I think.
Yeah, I know a few people that have had sleep paralysis, and it's always around the same start of a question or start of the first question, and then it usually ends the same question. which is, why is it happening to me? What does it mean? And what did I do to deserve it? Is basically almost the three common questions from people. Some kind. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but
Well, I've read it. I've read the strangest thing is, as soon as you like pray to God or mention Jesus Christ, or even people that don't have any belief in it at all, they mention that and it disappears, the shadow or whatever it is, that's the entity that's on them, on their chest. They just simply disappear because they preach the words of God to them, and help me Jesus Christ, or help me God, and they just disappear. It's just this. It's very strange.
it is. It is. But like you said, I mean, even if you aren't religious, all you gotta really just kind of, start saying some sort of prayer, and then they usually leave, really, which is interesting nonetheless. And then there's cases where they don't really seem to hurt you. They're just, we'll just say, admiring you from just the corner of your room, I guess, just staring at you, observing, I guess. I don't know. And then you get some people that say they're aliens. So I mean, I don't. It's just this whole phenomena world of the paranormal, supernatural, unknown is just one big sandbox where nobody had the correct answer. Any answer could be correct.
Yeah. Yeah, but absolutely.
Yeah, and then so anyway, one of the first things that I noticed with this campaign is you aren't doing a two week campaign this time around. You're actually doing almost like a full month. And then the other thing I noticed is you are still able to create comics and get them made, while other people who have made a Kickstarter now have to wait because the publisher or company that printed them got shut down. So what's going on in that world there, Joey?
So my decision to extend it from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, just to let the campaign breathe a bit, and just to catch up on our schedule. So as soon as we finish this, we'll have something to go again within 3 or 4 weeks of our next series. I haven't kept up to date too much about other publishers, the big two and stuff. I'm not too sure on what their situation is, but I have heard, like you said, things being pulled and their books not being coming out, and it's such a shame that these comic stores are going to suffer as well. It's a great hub for a lot of people out there to go to the shop and pick up books that they like and follow, and it's a sad situation, and it's something I hope they will recover from in the end of all this. But as I say, with us being independent, thankfully we have Kickstarter to crowdfund things, and we don't have to rely on too many outsourcing. We have the artists; they complete it for us from their home. They can send it to me. I letter and colour it, and then we've got the assurances from the print company. They have everything locked down for us to, have our books ready for us when we click order. And as far as everything's going, the postal systems are still up and running. That's something that can be done, delivered alone, and we're very fortunate we can carry on with what we're doing right now and not be affected too much by what's going on. And thankfully the people out there are supporting us as well, and that's amazing, despite everything that's going on, despite people can't go out, and we want to. That's a big thing for me was people are cancelling their Kickstarters, and I was just like, people are still going to want to read the stuff that you're putting out, and you don't want to see your TV turned off or your console turned off and see nothing being made again. We don't even have cinemas at the moment. We don't have any films coming out. We can't go to the cinema to catch up on. So I don't see if the options there for us to keep going and get our books out, which people want to read. So I wasn't going to stop if we didn't have to. So thankfully we can keep going.
Very cool. Yeah, that was very awesome. Well, your printing company is definitely putting their lives on the line for sure with the epidemic that's going on, and hopefully they're staying healthy as well and cleaning everything. Because when we were still working before we got locked down, they wanted us to clean our stations like every 2 hours, kind of like what the grocery stores are doing. Every 2 hours, you clean your station and stuff to kind of keep it nice and, neat and clean. So that way, hopefully, if there is anything on there, it's kind of gone now or whatever. So, but it is what it is. Another thing that is going on, which I will kind of mention because I know by the time this gets up, it's probably already going to be over with. But you did have some early birds, which I haven't seen you do in a while, and it was like the ultimate digital PDF horror collection of all your stuff, and something else that was going on. I'm trying to remember because one of them was already gone, and then another one is still in effect right now. Which let me see if I can pull it up right now, real quick. Actually, unless you can beat me to it, what was the other one? It was here's the ultimate horror. Yep, and then what was the other one? Then that was already gone. What is that? Oh, I guess. Yes, I guess it's another one.
We had it, so it was the early bird price. That was £12 for the first 72 hours, which is the full horror collection.
Yep.
And then it's the standard price now after the 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I see it now. Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, there you go, people. Speaking of the horror bundle act Kickstarter then, because the one that ended, which is ended, is done and over with, but then there's another one that I'm assuming you put it at the £15 one, which is supposed to be the regular price, that actually does say the early bird offer for the first 72 hours only as well. So I don't know what's going on there.
At the £15 one, it says early bird as well.
Yep.
All right, I have to change that. Don't know why that's come up.
So that is why I figured there was multiple early birds.
Got it.
But I just wanted to put that on the record that for the people listening, I don't want people to think like, there isn't proof. Because there isn't going to be proof if you were to go look at this. But right now, there was proof.
Yeah.
So, maybe I should screenshot this just in case somebody says, oh, it's not there anymore. What are you talking about? Here's the proof before you change it, damn it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for the horror bundle, is there anything else that you're doing with this campaign that you're doing differently at all?
No, not really, because this is our 17th Kickstarter now, and I feel like we've got a hold of what's needed to help a campaign be successful, and that includes limited rewards, no more reward tiers than 10 usually, so people aren't overwhelmed with different things, and even people new to Kickstarter, they're not like scrolling through and a bit overwhelmed and then just click away and never even bother in the end. So nothing entirely new. As I say, the ultimate horror bundle is like the up-to-date collection catalogue of everything we've got, and that was made available for the first time, including the new latest book. Just keeping it simple and keeping it efficient as much as possible. So because obviously when you fulfill these things, if you have loads of tiers, you got different bundles, you got different things, and it's a lot to process at the end, and we were able to have a quick turnaround on our campaigns. I always try and fulfill a campaign a month ahead of its deadline, and I've managed to keep doing that, so I want to keep that up for people.
Yes, I will. I will vouch what you just said. That yes, you do a great job of doing the campaign for about, we'll just say that current month. Then you get the funds, and then by the next month, whatever it is, like for example, this time. I mean, I know you got the campaign going on for a full month, which ends sometime like around April 29th or 30th, depending on the time frame of how you look at things. And then you got the 2 weeks to get funds, and you send it off to the printers, and then you gotta
Yeah.
send them out that way. But yeah, so you've been very good about that. So where are you right now as far as getting the book finalized and done to get it ready for the printers?
So where artist is up to 10 pages of Stay Awake 3 now. He's working away, and he's expected to finish that like a week, the latest a week before the campaign of Kickstarter finishes. And so during this whole time of the Kickstarter and running the Kickstarter, I'll be colouring it as we're going along and lettering it. So we'll have that, up to date. And so as soon as the campaign ends, or just before then, we'll be probably heading to print. The fingers crossed everything's funded and that side, so we'll be able to click go on that. And fingers crossed. As we've always done with our campaigns, fulfilled ahead of the deadline. We've never missed the deadline, so just wanna. There's nothing in our way at the moment to say otherwise. So yes, it's all
Right.
looking good.
Well, good, good. Which I will say this, too, for the record, for people that may not know you as well. I didn't know Joey back when, oh dear, what was it? It was Wendigo Wood #2 was coming out, was trying to be funded. And to be honest, that was around the time where I didn't know if you guys were going to be making your go or not, because I never really read any of your stuff, and et cetera, et cetera. And I did cancel my pledge at one time because I was just like, I think I might need might need to keep the money that I have, and then I ended up, pay. So, and then once I saw that you were funded, I re-pledged again to the same pledge that I had, but which was basically collecting all of your stuff at the time, which
Yeah.
whatever that was. So, then I got all your stuff, read through all of it, and it basically was just like, wow, this is actually really good. And it's kind of funny because I know with other podcasts and everything, and I forget if I asked you, Joey, but maybe just for the record again, I'll ask you too. But for me, when I was a little kid, right, I never really got into comics when I was little. Like I've read like a couple. Like I used to own a what the hell do they call it? It was the Batman Detective series. I don't
Yeah.
know which one I had, but that was like the only physical comic I ever had, and that was because I was bored at the Boy Scout camp because it was like raining or something, so we couldn't really do too much. So we had to basically stay inside and just do crap there. But I bought like a comic there just so I could have something to read.
Yeah.
And, that was really the only time I really read anything sort of comic wise until like a couple or about a couple of years ago. So maybe when I actually started this, I started the podcast is when I really started to become more interested in comics. And I think it's because as I grow older, I'm noticing that long books I just don't really have the patience for anymore.
Yeah.
And or I get bored with it, and then it goes onto my shelf, and then it basically collects dust or something. So it's very hard for me to kind of keep my focus on something for so long. It seems like now before I need to do something else or read something else.
Yeah.
It's not grabbing my attention.
Of course.
So, but with your stuff, I think it took me a couple days to read everything, even though at the time when I was, I think, messaging you about my review, I was telling you like every week you're gonna expect a new review from me.
Yeah.
And that was like 7 weeks or something. It was crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. But what about you, Joey? Just in case I didn't ask you the first time around, or if it is a repeating question, I apologize. But what about you? What got you really into comics?
Well, for me, it was as I said, a bit like you. I was introduced first as a kid, but only to stuff like Dandy or the Beano. Do you have that over in America? I think it's British. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that was very like childlike comic strips, and they never really appealed to me. And I nobody ever put like a Marvel comic in front of me or anything like or DC one in front of me, so was never really brought up on it. But it only started like 3 or 4 years ago. I was obviously watching the TV series Walking Dead, and then found out there was like a comics behind it series, and yeah, Walking Dead just changed. If I hadn't read Walking Dead, I probably wouldn't have got into comics, to be honest, just because it showed me that there wasn't just superhero comics out there. You could have real drama, set in a real world, and it was horror as well, which is my genre, and just see it executed like in like this adult graphic novel form, and that really opened my eyes then into the potential of my own stories and getting them out there. And so yeah, that's how I was introduced. What about you though? What you say you started as an adult in comics? What was it that introduced you as well then?
Oh, oh God.
Was it horror or was it like a superhero series or?
I think it was definitely horror. I'm mostly a horror man. I grew out of superheroes, so I am no longer a superhero guy. Unfortunately, I know, boo for me on that end. But I just don't know. I just feel like everybody can't really be stopped, or but like everybody has a weakness. I know when it comes to superheroes, but like, how much more can we really do before we start to repeat ourselves? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's almost
100%.
like the same recipe for each comic. The bad guy thinks he's going to win or something, and then whoever the superhero is, they come back in the end and stand
Yeah,
tall. But
it's
then,
it's Groundhog Day.
yeah, exactly. And then what is it? Then we get the comic like what is it? Somebody actually killed Batman, which Joker got pissed and went after them or something, right?
I'm not sure.
And then I think Superman died too. I think there was a Superman that died, but I know Batman died and Joker was pissed and went after the guy that killed Batman.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird.
Hmm.
Nonetheless, but uh,
I always felt like there was a niche for horror in comics though as well. I still feel like there's a niche in any genre in comics other than superheroes, because superheroes are so dominant in comics right now. That that you've got sci-fi that's pretty popular, fantasy is pretty popular, but I still feel like there's no Walking Dead's now finished, and I don't feel like there's a mainstream horror series out there right now. Outcast is finished, so I'm trying to. I found a niche for myself, and the stories that I tell, and I'm still carving out that audience that I'm growing each year, which helps with funding Kickstarters obviously as well.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, at first it was a book. So what got me back into the comics slowly was, I don't know if you heard of it, but you might have. But are you familiar with like a old children's book series that's called like Chicken Soup?
No, I am
Okay,
not.
you should. I don't. I mean, I don't think it would. Well, I mean, if you have like a kid heart, I would say definitely check it out because it's just like that. type of silliness. It's for like kids, like middle school age and stuff. But
Yeah.
like but chicken soup is called. But so this person tried to make something called nightmare soup, which is basically kind of like what Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was.
Right. Cool.
So that's what got me back slowly into books, because then another one came out called Corpse Code, and then finally when it came to comic, it was one called The Gentleman. And then I slowly became into learning more about indie comics, because I think what happened is going on with me, which I've been trying to figure it out, but lately, and I don't know about you, Joey. So for everybody listening, I'm only speaking for myself and not anybody else. But for me, I think I'm almost changing media slowly, because I haven't really been impressed at all lately with what's coming out cinema-wise when it comes to horror. It's either too predictable, too plain, or something. But when it comes to like indie comics that are horror-wise, not only do you see the blood, sweat, and tears that go into each page, but you're getting an original story.
Mm.
And I think that's what I like about it as well. And I think that's why I'm slowly diving into more comics more and more. And to be honest, after The Gentleman, I backed another great comic called Into the Darkness. And then I actually backed you. That's when
Yeah.
yep. So you were technically my third Kickstarter comic book person that I backed. So
Cool.
yeah, I'm looking back now. So yeah, so I think that's really why I'm almost changing media now. I'm more interested in comics than I was back then. It's just because I like the originality that's going on within these stories.
Yeah. 100% agree. You can take more risks in comics as well. If you're just doing a 25-page or 30-page one-shot story, it's low risk for the person making it, and low risk for the person buying it. At the end of the day, they've it's at £4 or £5 or dollars. To just have a go on something that's a bit different. And from the mainstream or big studios that who control the directors or the story of where that's going to go and fulfill tropes and all those kind of things to make it money and stuff. So it's a shame we're in that situation in the movie industry and things like that. So I think comics is just it can break grounds with storytelling 100%, with the stories that you could tell and explore. Yeah, it's just a really great medium that I've found myself in.
Well, I don't know about you, Joey, but I am loving what Dark Horse is also doing. If you love like the Alien franchise, where they're turning like the unused script into comics,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and we're gonna be getting the original Alien unused original script in comics soon, which actually should be going. I think gonna be coming out either this month in April or May, actually, which is nice. So I can't wait to actually dive into that. So, but anyway, before we start blabbering on about other things, let's focus on the first thing. But so real quick before I think we stay awake with a bat of a dead horse. Basically, is for people that do not know Stay Awake right now, what is going on with the story right now?
So obviously the basic premise of Stay Awake, the series, is a psychologist. Three of his former patients have turned up dead, and a detective is currently investigating him, because they think it's suspicious the circumstances that they have died. So the detective makes the psychologist revisit each case that he had with the patients, and forces them to retell the stories that they came to him with. and each one has a different strangeness to it. The first, so each issue is based on each case. So the first issue went into somebody who suffered with sleep paralysis, and the second one went into an old man that was suffering from early onset dementia and hallucinations as well. And the third issue, we visit a boy who can hear voices and sees things as well. And the psychologist is he's a skeptic basically, and he's writing these all off as with facts of science and the non-believer attitude, whereas these people 100% believe in what they're seeing and hearing, and the detective's basically trying to get to the bottom of this, and not leaving any stone unturned for the reader to leave it up to you as well. So that's where we're up to with issue 3.
Awesome. And for people listening, check it out. Check out the Kickstarter for Stay Awake number 3. As we record this, we have about 27 days left, so plenty of time to go. And it looks like Joey is about $352 away or something like that from reaching the goal. And by the way, Joey, congratulations on getting Stay Awake number 3 Kickstarter, a project we love.
I know.
Kickstarter. I think that's like your second one, right? Because I know Wendigo Wood, right?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't really keep track. It's just I just got an email saying that was selected today. It's very sporadic how the projects are selected. So it's nice. It's always a bonus to get one from time to time.
I was reading about the Project We Love thing, and basically the idea is if your page has like a very smooth way of just explaining everything of what it is down to the it looks great or whatever, that's how it gets selected. It's not going to find of that. So it looks beautiful enough to be selected, basically.
That's always nice.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. That's the way I think I understood it. But anyway, so from last time, like we were mentioning, we were talking about the Rise of the Goatman. At the time, it was not even on Kickstarter, for people to know. But that was being launched June 24th of last year. And we finally get it, because originally, for people listening to, this was supposed to be a one-shot idea of Rise of the Goatman. However, when it came to somebody like me, I think I was the only person that was just like, I don't know. This seemed like there wasn't enough information here. Even though the artwork and everything was beautiful nonetheless, especially the coloring that you did. You did the coloring, correct?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so you did a great job with the shading and stuff with that. I don't know. I think my review said something of like, I wish there was like more to it. Yeah.
I think that's a compliment though, because you want to know more of the story in the world, don't you?
Well, I think we all do, right? Because Goatman isn't really much of a cryptid that we hear a lot of, and we kind of went into that a little bit. But theoretically speaking, we hear a lot more about the Mothman, really well-known other type of cryptid versus something like Goatman or Pigman or something weird like that. But in this case, how was everybody else's reaction to Rise of the Goatman? Because I guess we'll kind of segue also into the fact that you are now turning the best way I guess I would say it is the Goatman series is a trilogy now, because we first got the Rise of the Goatman.
Yeah.
This year we are going to be seeing Birth of the Goatman, and then whatever the finale is. So how did that come to be, and basically, what was your initial reaction to decide on the trilogy?
So as you say, the response to Rise of the Goatman was just I wasn't expecting. It was so overwhelmingly positive. We had people that backed it on Kickstarter that loved it, and then we had a book launch at Manchester Comic Con here in England, and people when they seen the goat, I think the poster that Francesco Iaquinta did for it was fantastic. It was like a movie poster, and it came out exactly how I'd wanted, but better. And that drew a lot of people into the table, and people picked it up, and then they came back the next day saying they loved it, and it was just because it's a one-shot book as well. You can pick it up and you can read it in one go, and it was just so it just went so well. And I don't know, I came up for the trilogy. I just put the question out there. I was like, I've seen people liked it that much and enjoyed it that much that I put the question out, see if people want to see more of that. So I put the question out on one of the updates on Kickstarter, and it was just like overwhelming. It was like 40 comments on the Kickstarter page saying, yes, I want another one. And then on Instagram there was more, and then Facebook, and just so many people passionate about it, which I really wasn't expecting a response like that. It was just, going to be this one-off idea to do. So then, it got me thinking then, where else can we go with this? And I had the idea come for the Birth of the Goatman. Because when you think of a story idea, most of the time people have this grand idea how it's going to be massive. It's going to be 12 issues. It's going to be, it's never going to end and all this. So then you've got to really scale back your idea then and think, what's going to work here? I've only got the funds for, one book, so let's scale it back and strip it back and do it in just one book. So when I was writing the first book, there was always potential of, this could go that way, this could go this way. So there was always like a plot strand that could happen. So it's not just expanding the book for the sake of it. It's kind of going along the lines of where it was going to go if we were going to do a trilogy. So I wanted to keep it short as well. I didn't want to do 4 issues. I just thought, let's keep it 2 and 3. It's a bit different, and we can have these different strands of like each issue will be a different protagonist. So as it stands, Birth of the Goatman will follow a detective straight after the events of Rise of the Goatman. So a detective looking into investigating what happened at the climax of Rise of the Goatman.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
So you're, in a way, it's almost like you're turning it into a detective class, like a mystery to kind of follow the mythology of the Goatman in a way. I think is how you're trying to approach it. I think.
Yeah. So Birth of the Goatman is literally how and is what it says in the title. Really, it'll go back into how the Goatman became to be. And it's going to be like a really cool, joined up narrative and wrapping things up and linking things to that, and then setting up for the final third issue as well.
Grand finale.
Yeah.
Which I think, if everything is going as planned, too, we should be seeing Birth of the Goatman by the June 29th of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So with the you might notice the artwork is similar to Stay Awake in Rise of the Goatman. That's because the artist is Adrian Garcia, and he's a really great collaborator. So as soon as he finishes Stay Awake at the end of this month, I'll be writing Birth of the Goatman for the end of this month as well. So tie it in as soon as he's finished that. He have a little break, and then we'll get started on Birth of the Goatman then. So the cogs are always moving at Afterlight Comics.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too much more into it too, because I'd rather talk a little bit about it. That way, if anybody is interested of like Rise of the Goatman, they can definitely check it out right now, which is available on the AfterlightComics.com. I think I've also asked you this question before, but for the record again, what about places like Comicology or whatever? Are you planning on doing something with that, or are you just kind of keeping the digital version right now just for your site?
So as you say, the digital versions of all our books are available on our website along with physical versions. The thing with Comixology is there's a lot of red tape to, sign up and get things on there, and it's just having the time to do that at the moment, as well as I'd like to keep everything on our website, on our real estate, as you could call it. I want people's eyes to go on our books and keep up to date with our site, and you can sign up to our mailing list on our website. We only update you when we've got something new or something to say. So I'd rather keep everything on our site. Really, that's been the main reason why we haven't really considered Comixology too much. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was just curious because, to be honest, from what I hear, Joey, is Comicology is a really great place for indie people, from what I hear. So that's why I was thinking of you guys. So that way, it's just as great as I hear, then I would definitely say you should definitely check it out, because it might actually get you out there even more for people who may not even know that you exist too.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, even if you were to throw up a couple just to see how it does, just to kind of be like a little tester, I think that would be a great way. But anyway, yes, moving on. So expect people Birth of the Goatman by what Joey has planned, which is the end of June, basically. And is that running, or is the rest of these, I should ask right for now, just to get it out of the way, is for the upcoming Kickstarter that we're going to be mentioning, that for the rest of the 2020, are these going to stay for the full, 30 days, or does it depend on how this pandemic, where you might go back to the 2 week thing?
Yeah. The reason I did 14 days campaigns towards the end of last year was just to fit everything in. Really, it was just we had the books ready and raring to go, so it was just a matter of timing everything to fit in for that year and get books sent out before the end of the year. So I think it'll be it'll be campaign by campaign basis. I think things like there's this series coming to the end of this book's coming to the end of their series this year, like Ghost Island, Wendigo Wood 4, final issue of that as well. So we'll probably, seeing as that's the end of the actual book series for them, we'll probably do them at 30 days, just to chance for everybody to get on board with it, and it's kind of like a send off for the books as well, really, and to something different for them, and try and get as many eyes on it as possible, because it's the full series, so that makes something more accessible to somebody, doesn't it, that may not want to get on board with a series that's two issues in. This is the full collection, so it's there for people to jump on at.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't think we really need to talk long about this one, but just to go in order of last year just a little bit. The next thing that came out after Rise of the Goatman, we saw the sequel to Stay Awake. And what I mean by sequel is like the Stay Awake number 2, basically, for people listening. Which at the time was a 2-week campaign, which it did become funded. And from there, it basically dealt with the second patient, right?
Yep.
And had something to almost kind of do with like this clown per se, or something involving the clown, because there is the clown in one.
Yeah, and that was actually it was the grandson's toy that they had at the grandparents' house that they would stay at. So that was like kind of like this figure representing, like this physical sense of the child was still there and about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was great. But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that just a second, for that way people will know where we are of how you came to be. So as we approach the end of 2019, you hit us with one more Kickstarter, which was the third issue of Wendigo Wood, which that was a very intense little issue, I will say. And I can't wait to see the ending of that when we see that actually right after this campaign of Stay Awake number 3, because if we are going by what you have released for information wise, then we should be possibly seeing Wendigo Wood, the final issue, by May 4th. So people,
Yes.
May 4th be with you. Ha ha ha. Anyway,
that just a note on that, because I was so determined to just wrap Ghost Island up, the 6th issue. Then Ghost Island 6 will be replacing the schedule of Wendigo Wood 4, so that they'll be swapping places.
okay.
Just so because Ghost Island 6 is going to be 38 pages, so it's another big oversized issue. So I wanted to get that out. Yeah, so that's going to be really cool. Because it's been over a year since the last issue, so I thought, it'll be a year soon. So I thought let's get that wrapped up for people, instead of, and then just push Wendigo Wood 4 down.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so before we get into Ghost Island 2, so to clarify for people for what I just said, so Wendigo Wood now, instead of being on May the 4th, it's gonna be what in July then, right? Because Ghost Island number 6 was originally planned for July, so now it's May, and then Wendigo Wood is July then.
Yeah, we'll probably swap those two around. Okay. Yeah.
Or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah. There'll always be a book coming out. Just say that.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing I am noticing too, and I don't know if you did this on purpose, but this will fall into another question that I asked last year. I know that, but to also clarify too, because of how you're doing it this year with everything, it would be perfect for the very end after we talk about some of the upcoming Kickstarters. So anyway. So Wendigo Wood came out for number 3, which if you guys are not on that, I would definitely check it out, especially if you love the Wendigo lore, because there's always different things when it comes to Wendigos of how they look, react, everything else. And I think Joey and his team are definitely having the right atmosphere when it comes to Wendigo Wood. So, with that being said, for what you can tell us, Joey, just give us a quick little run-up of what's going on with Wendigo Wood and what we can, if you can. I mean, I don't know if you do, but if you have any way of saying what we can expect for the final issue.
So, obviously, people up to date with the series, you're still following Hank, the protagonist, in his discovery of trying to find his daughter that he lost when she was a child. She was taken away or just went missing. So issue 4 will pick up straight after the bit of a shocking ending of issue 3, and it'll follow more of what is happening with the cult that worship the Wendigo, and also so I'm trying to avoid stepping on a few things to stop giving away.
Well, if you accidentally say something that you shouldn't, I will gladly take it out.
Beep it out. So all I can say really is, everything will be coming to an end and wrapping it up, and the answers that people are looking for in in this series will be answered. But yeah, I recommend anybody that's interested to get involved with it. But just because I think a lot of people go the action route and with stories sometimes, whereas I think Wendigo Wood's had a good pace. It's built up the tension. It's revealed cliffhangers and shocking scenes, and we're gonna continue that into the fourth and final issue and hopefully deliver a big payoff to the reader.
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, it didn't really take me long to finish issue 3. I felt like it had a really nice flow to it at a speedy little pace because it was just like, you're reading it and it was just like, boom, done. It's like, damn, I only read it. Like, maybe I should go back again and really, like, enjoy it or even more. But I think what happened too was like you were really showing the artwork more versus having a lot of dialogue, which I would say is very nice. But because I should say, I don't want to say but because when you have too much dialogue, I feel you're overkilling the artwork, and that's what makes comics is the artwork. You appreciate the artwork. You just don't want to go in there gun blazing with dialogue to make sure like everything is answered. While with like me, I would rather have mysteries going on anyway than having everything fully answered for me.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's just I think it's the less obviously I want a good story to be told, and it doesn't have to be. If it can't be told, make it, tell it with images. And so that's why, if I can do it with an image, I'll choose an image over dialogue any day. It just adds to the storytelling and tension, I think, rather than, just having the letters on the page most of the time. 'Cause I'm a very visual person anyway. I was a very visual filmmaker, so I think that shows in, trying to tell the stories that I'm doing right now.
Oh, yes, yeah, I 100% agree with that. Just to kind of branch off for a second too before we go into what you have done so far with 2020 beside the current Kickstarters too. But so last year that I did my first ever Kickstarter for a short film that I did. First off, did you ever watch it?
I did, yeah. I enjoyed it, man.
I'm very glad to hear that. So talking about dialogue, did you feel that was enough dialogue in that short film to understand what was going on, or did you feel like you needed to have more? I'm just curious.
I think you left it, teetering on the edge of, that's enough to tell about the story, but also leave, that kind of mystery to the plot. You don't have to, I think the most important thing about storytelling is you don't spoon feed the audience. You have to leave that little bit for the audience to work out and, for themselves. And that adds to the horror sometimes, doesn't it? The mind and imagination can create a lot more, a lot more scary than what is in front of you most of the time, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I will 100% agree with you with that. So yeah, I was just making sure because some of the response I was getting was they liked it in that they actually it was making people try to research the tale. But of course, I was saying good luck trying to find anything on it because there's really nothing on it. Like I actually did an episode about what the historical society even gave me for a response because they were kind of familiar with the road a little bit, but they weren't familiar with some of the other things that I was asking. So it was very interesting to see exactly how a folklore could come to life. And this is a perfect example. I don't want to say too much, but people, you can go back I believe I even put it in an episode form in the playlist of the Passenger of Vermont Urban Legend, where you guys can listen to me and Tessa talk about it, about the response to us from the Historical Society and how we are looking at it as if this was going to be created as a folklore, this would be the perfect ingredient right here, and that's what we did. So yeah, but I do appreciate that. Hopefully you will like the idea that we have in store for Terra Trail as well. So
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, so we're coming to an end almost there, and then I have a couple more questions, and then we will wrap this up with a nice little bowl top with some bloody goodness of cherry pies and apple pies and everything else. But so you started off 2020 with a very interesting Kickstarter, and I think if memory serves me right, this was like a week campaign because it was like Kickstarter's new thing or something. To me, it's new, but you can go into it a little bit more. But it was like a Make 100, and it was for a limited edition of the very first issue of Ghost Island, which was brand new cover design, and I must say, I freaking love it.
Yeah, Jag Lal did the front cover. I met him at a comic convention in October of last year. He gave me his card. I checked out his portfolio and fell in love with the style. And I thought that is something I can definitely see us doing with our covers, his style. And yeah, so the idea so we had a first Kickstarter of the year, was 7 days, and it was for Ghost Island 1, and it was a variant cover of the book that we released 2 years ago, designed by Jag Lal, like I said. And it was basically, we were running out of issue ones for Ghost Island 1, and to restock books print on demand for small quantities is very costly. And it was trying to come up with a creative way of trying to restock the books, by also giving people a chance to have a collector's edition of the book, and also us stocking the book back in stock for when we come back to Kickstarter with the Ghost Island 6 campaign, where everybody can get 1 to 6 and the full collection of books. So it was really a creative way of trying to raise funds for that. And also Kickstarter was running a Make 100 incentive, and it was basically they would highlight your page if you were funding trying to make 100 copies of something. So that was Kickstarter's incentive, and they would highlight your page, and I think that helped a little bit introducing more people to our books, and people like yourself that got copies as well, who want to collect. So those won't be reprinted again. So it really is something to collect.
Well, unfortunately, when that originally came through, I could only do the digital version, so I was like, crap. But that was just because work was slowing down for me, and a time where things get a little bit tight at the beginning of the year, or start to really pick up. And now, as with the pandemic here, it's like nothing could make it much more worse now. But yeah. So that's why I could only do the digital. But now, for people that may not know this, I mean, people may know this, but for people that don't know, with Joey, he also offers add-ons. So if you want like an additional copy of something else, or additional copy of let's say Stay Awake #3 to give to somebody else, you can throw in that extra amount of pounds, and then but just let Joey know by the end of the campaign that the extra fund is for et cetera, and he'll help you out with that, of course. But that's very nice. So, like in this case, as we're talking with the whole Make 100, I could only do, I could only do the digital. But I did ask Joey before Stay Awake 3 Kickstarter started. I asked him if he had any leftover of that limited edition Ghost Island to set one aside for me, and I'll throw in that additional amount to have that as well, just to help that extra campaign out, just by throwing in that additional amount. But if you, I just wanted to throw that out there because a lot of people may not know that, and Joey is great about that. So. Yeah. I've done that a few times with Joey, actually, where I threw in a couple more dollars just to get an extra copy for either a friend of mine or something. So, yeah.
I appreciate you saying this because at the end of the day, the person who wants one of our books is supporting us. So we'll always try and accommodate, whatever you suggest or whatever you're after, kind of thing. So yeah, we're always happy to do anything like that for you.
Yeah. So, like I said, just do well. And if you don't know how to add to the Kickstarter pledge, basically all you just do is just go go to the Kickstarter itself. You want to go to the Manage Your Pledge, and then depending on what Joey tells you to add on to your pledge, whether it be £6 or £9, depending on what it is, we'll just say. So basically, like, for an example, if your final cost right now is, like, let's just say £11, like mine was, right? So that was the standard copy for Stay Awake 3 plus the shipping, so that's £11 for me. So if I wanted to add on the limited edition Ghost Island #1, I needed to add what was it? It was like that £6 or £9, and then I had to, calculate that into math, and then boom, that's it. And then you just confirm it, and then you're done. So that's basically all you do.
Yeah.
All right. And speaking of Ghost Island, and as we just said too, is you got the finale coming. And just to clarify, too, because at the time, Joey, it was untitled. So is the final Ghost Island that is coming out in May now, is that Ghost Island #6 the final chapter? Or are we going to have, like, another sort of name, kind of like you've been sort of doing?
No, that's correct. It'll be Ghost Island 6, the final chapter.
Okay.
It's just because, it's the end of the end. It's wrapping up the first ever series that we released. So it's kind of, it might be cliche, but it's, it really is like the final chapter. It's like the end of an era kind of thing.
Baby.
Yeah, 100%. It's all grown up now and it's ready to leave the house.
Basically. And this is a nice little segue of just basically saying for Ghost Island real quick for people is it'd just be much better if you all check out Ghost Island, because right now, Joey can correct me, but I'm pretty sure right now Joey is actually given the first 2 issues of Ghost Island for free. Are you still doing that actually?
Yeah. So, when this coronavirus thing, started really, increasing and, affecting more and more people, we took it upon ourselves to try and give something a little back, because we won't see anybody at comic conventions anymore for probably throughout this year now. And, we've met a lot of great people and people that have supported us since then that we've met there. And, we just wanted to give a little back to anybody that's struggling. And, it was a tough time for people, that are at home and maybe their environment's not as comfortable or great for as the next person. So, people still need that escapism and, to enjoy something. And, so we made Ghost Island 1 and 2 absolutely free digitally to download. All you have to do is go on our website, afterlightcomics.com, Click the 2 books, add them to your basket, and then you'll be able to download those digitally. So yeah, we just wanted to do something nice, really, just our way of giving back a little bit.
Yeah, so this is your chance to basically dive right into this baby of what really sort of started Afterlight, and which was after another book, which I'm trying to figure out if I should mention, because
you can mention it. It's cool.
Okay, the 2084, the New Order.
Yeah.
So I recently did a review for that, and then when I went to go find your link or your store page for it, and noticed that you don't have the physical nor the digital version available anymore. Is there a reason behind that?
So 2084, the New Order, that was a book that it was actually my very first book I ever wrote. It was before Ghost Island. But I chose to publish Ghost Island before that. Yeah, it was something. It's basically, for people that don't know, it was a sci-fi dystopia graphic novel, and it followed a man that the society that was so divided by the rich and the poor. The poor were, working away to support the rich in their living states, and in a very authoritarian state as well. Everyone lives in. They've all got their numbers. It's almost like we live now. It's a lockdown, but it's permanent. It's the society, and basically, people are falling sick. They're dying. They're choking. They're coughing up blood. And this one guy, he's led to believe that there's something in the water. The water is being tainted by some governing body, possibly. That's one of the theories. And so yeah, we published issue 1 and 2 of that in the volume. One of our second or third Kickstarters, I think. And it was very early days in our comic publishing days, and yeah, we completely sold out of copies of that and never really restocked it because we had launched Afterlight Comics then, and so Afterlight Comics, as you know, is a horror comics publishing house, and I just felt if I was people know that Afterlight Comics is horror. If you like horror, that's the place to be. And so if I was going to dilute that with this sci-fi book, it kind of like took away from that, I thought. So yeah, as you say, my wife was saying just before I came on, I should put that back out there now. It's the perfect time to do it.
I think you should, to be honest. But
so I am playing with the idea of releasing it as a webcomic and like doing it as like maybe a weekly thing, releasing pages for the book that way. So there's that way. I'm not sure. It's just something to somebody maybe to read on a Sunday, like 2 more pages, or release it that way. We'll see. I'm definitely teetering towards more of bringing it back and seeing what happens.
I mean, I would, because I would hate, to be honest, I would hate somebody that would find that review I just did, and then they're like, "Oh, great, now I can't read it."
Yeah, it's rare entity.
I guess. I mean, I'll put a disclaimer here, and I'll say if anybody reaches out to me about 2084, just pay me £2, and I'll give it to Joey, and I'll give you a PDF file.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's genuinely interested, then just reach out and let me know, and I'll send it. But I will probably re-release it and get it out there, but separate from the Afterlight Comics brand, possibly on its own on our website.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was interesting to see a sci-fi mix with the horror, because sci-fi can technically be horror. I mean,
of course, look at aliens, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got that book. And, yeah. So finally, the last question that I actually have about Ghost Island, and this wraps up perfectly to the other campaign that we have. already mentioned is, so after this year is, come to a close for 2020, not only will you have Ghost Island wrapped up, you're going to have Wendigo Wood wrapped up, you're going to have Stay Awake wrapped up as well. So we got 3 titles of yours, or 3 series of yours, I should say, that will be complete. And I know I asked this last year, and I'm still curious to hear your thoughts on if you are planning on it or not. So and for everybody out that likes to collect them too, like myself. So when you completely complete Ghost Island, Wendigo Wood, and Stay Awake, are you going to be offering a chance to make a complete paper trade back for all the issues in one?
100%. That's my motivation, to have, that nice thick book of a full collection of stories that you've been able to tell, and collected in a nice, good quality, perfect bound book. So yeah, 100%, and they're going to be packed with loads of extras that nobody's ever seen before. Like the Ghost Island, there's going to have all the prints of previous ghosts on the island, maybe some more sketches, or loads of behind the scenes stuff, script excerpts, and yeah, it's just going to be plenty of value for money, with all of that. Because if you bought the single issues, you've already got it, so you might think, oh, I don't really want to buy it again. What's going to be different? So that's my incentive to say, well, I want you to get your money's worth, so it's going to be filled with loads of good stuff. So yeah, that's my I'm vouching for that.
Yeah, that's your sell pitch right there.
Yeah. So as you say, next year is going to be, there's going to be a couple of trade backs coming out next year, as well as some nice new fresh things to get brewing.
Uh-oh. Yeah. So you hear that, people? Make sure you start saving now. Anyway. No, I can't wait, to be honest, because I like having the trade backs as well. Because I've done a couple reviews for other publishers, and when they did their trade backs, they were nice enough to take a couple quotes from me and put it onto their trade paperback, and I thought that meant a lot to me, because I was just like, wow, like the kind gesture of somebody that take the quote and put it on their media just means a lot to me, because I never thought I would ever see anything that I've reviewed or whatever get thrown onto the back of it. Just like you guys. You guys were you guys were actually pretty 100% certain that you guys are the first one that actually put us on something, which was Ghost Island number 5. And when I saw that, I was just like, wow. Like, that was very generous of Joey. So I appreciate you for that, for sure. I know everybody else who saw that from the Everything Horror team was like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, I always appreciate you reading, reviewing our things, man, and putting together articles and promoting it. I know a lot of work goes into that, so it's only way to pay it forward back to you as well, man. I've always been appreciative of your support that you've given us.
Yeah, I dude, I love your stuff. So keep it going. I mean, keep bringing out that nice fresh content. It's nice to see. And speaking of nice fresh content, we're gonna finally say the last campaign was for FolkTales of the Cryptids Volume 2. And after listening to what you were saying about Ghost Island number 1, did you kind of, well, let me see how I can phrase this first. So did you kind of have what you were mentioning with Ghost Island number 1 with the whole restocking thing? Was that your idea with FolkTales number 2 as well, besides telling us new tales? But was that also a way to help restock the first volume, which I have to say now is volume 1, because at first that was supposed to be another standalone, but instead we got volume.
Yeah.
So, and you guys sold out too, right? It was at that London show, right?
Yeah. So when we go to Comic Cons and stuff, FolkTales the Cryptids is always one of the most popular books. You know, it's people love their lores and legends. You know, it's so
Yeah,
that's what drove
it's
me to
always
do. That's what drove me to do volume 2 as well. Really, it wasn't to because that Kickstarter, you know, that the goal for the volume 2 of FolkTales 2 was really as high as I could go, and that was just for the artwork printing of volume 2. That's just all volume 2 related. We had to restock FolkTales out of our own budget last year because we just flat out ran out. So we had to restock that. And so yeah, depending if people still enjoy what we're putting out, FolkTales Cryptids, we might have more volumes, and let's see where that goes.
Yeah, and speaking of volume 2, we had a nice few some new cryptids, I should say, which some I kind of never heard of because I think some were like UK based, and then I don't remember where the other one is from. But anyway, we had volume 2. We had the Ratman of South End. We had Jenny Greenteeth, and then 2 more cryptids in there. And all of them played out very nicely, I will say. I don't think I've even heard of any of these cryptids. So once again, like I was saying with the Goatman, it's nice to kind of hear more about these other type of cryptids rather than the ones we always know. But there is a lot more out there than what we hear about.
Yeah, this issue is definitely about finding the more obscure ones. I felt like I'd hit on a few more popular ones in the first volume, so I wanted to go something a bit deeper and maybe ones that people haven't heard of that made it a little bit nicer for me and more creative way to expand on a story from that, maybe, and not from like the first volume where people know of it and potential stories. There's already a few stories out there of it, whereas there's probably no stories of these cryptids out there in volume 2 because they are very obscure.
Well, once again, congratulations on that successful campaign too. And
Thank you very much.
Like I said, I mean, it's great to see original content, and it's not remakes and reboots like we see in cinema nowadays. And which I will admit we have watched a few new reboots. I'm gonna say recently, Tessa and I, and some are not bad. Some I just wish they never touched. Then there's somewhere I'm like, I don't know if I even want to try it, but I hear good things. And then I started hearing some like mixed reviews of other things. So it's like, I don't know. But in this case, like we were talking about earlier, comics is a great media for originality, and it's just one of those type of things where we can finally say what we want to say basically in a comic without giving away too much, while leaving the mystery around to, like we were also saying with my short film, it's enough where hopefully we can get people to actually do research of these cryptids or folklore or anything that we kind of mentioned above, so that way we can say we've done our job, because it's making you want to learn more. It's making you go out and read more, try to find more, and it's great to do that. Like me, I want to learn more about the Ratman and Jenny Greenteeth now, because I've never heard of some of these, so it just makes me wonder what really is out there that we don't know. And maybe one day we will see a volume 3 with more cryptids.
Potentially, man, it might become an annual thing.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
So Joey, to wrap things up is, you kind of started going into it a little bit about your shop, but not only do you guys sell comics now, you also sell your prints and stuff on your website as well.
We do, yeah. And the print shop launched last year. We have posters, prints, and currently we will be working towards some merchandise as well, in the form of t-shirts, jumpers, mugs, coasters, things like that. See if people are interested. You know, with like some of the monsters on the t-shirts, or like you know, some of the book covers that people really like. Because we did Wendigo Wood t-shirts, and they were quite popular when we did Kickstarter on the first one. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we're just working on that at the moment and pushing that forward. And I'd like to make an exciting announcement that we're going to be starting to work on something that we've never done before. We will be starting to develop a board game. And it will be based on we'll give a hint. It's based on one of our current comic series. We'll be expanding on that universe, and it'll be like a dark, folklorish board game. Really, really cool. Lots of layers to it, lots of detail to the board. And yeah, we're very, very early development stage on that. So it's probably ambitious, but I would like to be working towards Halloween for that.
Oh man, this sounds great. And I'm gonna take a shot at this. It is not Ghost Island, is it?
It's not Ghost Island, no. It's going to be very folklorish, folk horror, based in the woods. And yeah, so you, if you want to find out more, if you're on the mailing list, updates will be sent on there if you're interested. Yeah, very, very early stages, but as I say, whenever I've stated a project or laid out plans for a project, I always follow through on it. I've never said I'm going to do this, do that. I've always followed through on my words. So watch the space on that one.
Yes, if anything, I will back it up by saying yes. Joey is very good at fulfilling his orders, and he is always on time. Even though I gotta wait a month sometimes for my stuff to come overseas, but that's okay. But that's because I can survive with having a PDF file until I wait for the physical thing, which is good. This is nice. Oh, and when we were talking about Ghost Island 2, because let me back up for a minute too, so I can re-say again that if you guys want extra copies, or another even comic that you didn't get a chance to back for Kickstarter on or something. So when Ghost Island number 5 came out, when we were just mentioning that Joey was nice enough to put us on the back issue of it with the 4-star thing, I actually ended up pledging extra money for an extra copy of that, just so I could frame it, because Joey, like I said, Joey was the first one to put our name on something physical media-wise. So right now I'm actually staring at the framed number 5 edition that I bought from him. So, yeah. So once again, that's what I mean by helping out too, by adding that additional copy or copies, because, you could pledge whatever if you need extra copies or whatnot.
Yeah, cool, man. Always.
Yeah. So, Joey, I don't want to take any more of your time, so thank you so much. And perhaps we'll have you back on again.
Yeah, I'd love that. It's been really good catching up with you, man.
Yeah, you too. And you got my PSN, so we can go kill zombies or something if you'd like. So, there's that, because, it's going to get quite boring in isolation pretty soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you again, Joey. And just one last thing is, where can people keep up to date with you again and your whole latest Kickstarter?
Yeah, so we're on all 3 social media platforms. Afterlight Comics is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just search Afterlight Comics. And yeah, the Kickstarter's live right now. If you just type in Stay Awake, we should come up there, or Stay Awake 3, if you want to follow us on there. And our website, of course. All our books are on there, full catalogue, digital and physical, as well as everything else. And there's a sign-up link You can sign up to our mailing list, and we only let you know when there's some new content coming. We don't spam. And we also, if there's any, up and coming horror creators, writers, who are partnering up with an artist or have something, a story that you think suits us and would work with us, being your best platform to, publish your book. We have a submissions page on the website. You just fill that out, read the guidelines and stuff, and yeah, you can put it forward that way.
Awesome. And once again, Joey, thank you for your time. I hopefully it wasn't too much of a bugger. I know we had to stop a little bit for people knowing we had to take a small little break, but this was the continuation. So thank you, Joey, for holding off until, seeing it through and stuff. I know there was a lot to talk about, but, that's what happens when we don't talk for almost a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, thank you for your time, Joey, and everybody go check out the latest campaign. Go help out Afterlight, because once everything is fulfilled and done and over with, like we just mentioned, we'll see nice little trade paperbacks for Ghost Island, Stay Awake, and Wendigo Wood. I don't think I'm missing anything else, but once those are done, we get new content from Afterlight to scare our brains out, and we can't wait for that as well. So
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you.
You're welcome, Joey. And like I said, come back any or just positive random ass shit. We'll see it through.
Take you up on that.
Yeah. So everybody else, thank you for listening. Remember to stay warm, stay safe, stay healthy, wash your damn hands. Don't be outside socializing in big ass groups, because otherwise, if you get any of us infected, we will come to your house and murder you in your sleep, just like Stay Awake will happen. You will never fall asleep again. The end. Okay. Until next time, everybody, I was Podolsky, and you were listening to Joey Oliveira from Afterlight Comics, and like we always say, we want you to stay scary.